Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're unpacking a truly revolutionary concept from Abdi Fattah Osman Hussein's core text on transforming public institutions. Look, if you've ever wondered why some massive, super well-funded initiatives succeed while others just quietly fade away, you're exactly in the right place. We're going to break down the profound ideas in Hussein's work about revolutionizing public administration, and we're going to do it step by step.
So why do perfectly funded, politically supported government programs just disappear? It's a great question, right? Think about it. It's not just a lack of money, and it's definitely not a lack of political will. So what is actually going wrong here? Well, let's look at a real-world example to see this mystery in action.
Take the story of the Tulinde Msichana digital platform launch in Nakuru County. On day one, you've got the huge white tent, donor representatives, a big ribbon-cutting ceremony, and 50 shiny new tablets handed out to eager ward officers to track gender-based violence. But fast forward just 6 months. Those exact same tablets are sitting at 0% battery, locked inside a steel cabinet. The server's subscription lapsed. Officers are literally back to using paper. By year one, the entire program is what Hussein calls a digital fossil.
So here is our roadmap for diagnosing and curing this issue today. First, the implementation paradox. Second, the architecture of failure. Third, the myth of best practice. Fourth, adaptive autonomy explained. Fifth, fixing the operating system. And finally, building a self-healing ministry.
Section 1. The implementation paradox. What launches versus what lasts?
The implementation paradox is this persistent, almost mystical gap between the ribbon-cutting fanfare and the actual on-the-ground reality. And it's crucial to understand that this paradox isn't a failure of technology or a sudden lack of funding. No, it's a fundamental mismatch in the system itself. The technology works just fine. The launch succeeds, yet the program just vanishes.
Section 2. The architecture of failure. Let's diagnose this gap.
The root cause here lies in what is called the governance complexity gap. This is a brilliant term. It explains the chasm between the complexity of a new intervention and the actual complexity handling capacity of the institution receiving it. I mean, if you drop a highly complex Level 4 tech platform into an institution that only has Level 2 operational capacity, it doesn't matter how much you funded it. It's going to fall right into that gap. You are practically guaranteeing failure from day one. And deep inside that gap, we find 3 specific diseases killing these ministries. First up is institutional fragmentation. Think of Mary Wanjiku, a mother navigating the system for one child in crisis, who is forced to visit 3 separate departments recorded in 3 totally siloed databases that do not talk to each other. Second is management fibrillation. This is basically motion without movement. Everyone is stuck in endless coordination meetings, but 0 decisions are actually made. Finally, there's the boss barrier syndrome, where every single operational decision requires a top executive sign-off, which completely paralyzes the system below them.
Which brings us to a really powerful realization. As the text states, money without architecture leaks. We have to stop telling ourselves this comforting lie that simply throwing more donor money at a broken system is going to magically fix it. It won't. If the institutional plumbing is broken, the funding just leaks right out.
Section 3. The myth of best practice. Why importing solutions is a trap.
So why do these imported best practices fail so often? Well, it usually comes down to 3 specific gaps. The infrastructure gap assumes digital plumbing that just isn't there yet. The incentive gap completely ignores local political realities. And the cultural gap embeds totally foreign assumptions. Think about the Nordic Gender Toolkit, a beautifully designed program from Scandinavia just sitting unopened in a Kenyan library, gathering dust. Why? Because it assumed municipal structures and HR systems that simply didn't exist in that context. The toolkit wasn't wrong per se. It was just designed for a different planet.
And this brings us to a rather stark truth. You literally cannot just train your way out of the problem. Training individuals in a broken system produces trained individuals in a broken system. When those highly trained people eventually retire, or resign, or transfer, well, all that capacity walks right out the door with them. Capacity absolutely must be embedded into the actual systems themselves.
Section 4. Adaptive autonomy. The structural cure we've been looking for.
Now, we need to clearly separate the idea of decentralization from adaptive autonomy.
Decentralization simply devolves authority down the chain, but often without ensuring anyone is moving in the same direction. Adaptive autonomy, though, is entirely different. It means devolving the local execution of a task while actually tightening the central strategy. So everyone shares a unified central coherence, but the local actors have the operational autonomy to actually get the job done their own way.
It's kind of like a Model 2, a minibus in Kenya, or honestly, your own body's immune system. In a Model 2 network, every single driver knows the final destination. That's your central coherence. But each driver autonomously chooses their exact route based on the traffic right in front of them. It's the exact same with your immune system targeting an infection. This isn't chaos, you guys. It's ordered complexity. Local actors are dynamically adapting to their environment to reach a shared goal.
Section 5. Fixing the operating system. How do we actually install this cure? Traditional public-private partnerships usually just build concrete infrastructure, like roads, creating this perpetual transactional dependency. But a social PPP, that is about transferring capability, not just concrete. Take the partnership with Finstock of Varsity College. They didn't just build a portal. They embedded their own governance, accreditation, and digital systems straight into the ministry until the ministry's own staff could run it themselves.
This capability transfer happens through a brilliant four-step process of embedded institutionalization. First, co-design. Second, shadow operations, where government staff learn by doing right alongside the private partner. Third, reverse operations. This is where the government staff take the lead and the private partner shadows them. And finally, autonomous operations. The ultimate goal of a social PPP is intentional obsolescence. The private partner literally makes themselves unnecessary.
Now, to run this new system, you can't train everyone the exact same way. Enter the digital dual workforce model. You see, 70% of the workforce needs functional digital literacy. This is your basic operational hygiene, like managing databases safely. But that remaining 30% needs advanced digital capability to serve as the innovation engine. When you separate these tracks, you stop boring your experts, and more importantly, you stop intimidating your beginners.
Section 6. The Self-Healing Ministry. Absorb and Repair.
Picture this. It's a Sunday night, and you get a phone call. A massive negative audit report is leaking to the press. In an old ministry, this causes absolute panic, immediate firings, and months of defensive paralysis. But in a self-healing ministry, equipped with a specific architecture, the response is automatic. They pull up the active risk register, realizing, hey, this threat was already anticipated. They trigger the standard operating procedures to immediately draft a response, and they use their real-time monitoring, evaluation, and learning data to instantly prove that 94% of the funds are perfectly verified with GPS tags. They don't panic. They just absorb the shock and repair themselves.
This leads us to a truly profound realization from the source text. The future of governance will not belong to institutions that are merely efficient. It will belong to institutions that can continuously learn. That is the ultimate promise of the adaptive autonomy framework. It's not about being perfectly compliant to some old, rigid system. It's about building a living, breathing architecture that actually evolves.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative question. Look at your own organization, your own workflow, your own teams. Are you just putting up white tents and launching flashy new programs, or are you actually built to learn, adapt, and sustain? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep adapting, and I'll catch you next time.